Hello to all the wonderfully curious bakers and bread enthusiasts out there. Rachel Parker, your humble bread aficionado, is here to welcome you to another episode of Breaking Bread. Today, we're embarking on a gastronomic adventure, unraveling the secrets behind that irresistible, Insta-worthy open crumb I know you've all been hankering after. We've got quite the loaf to slice through, covering everything from the science of gluten to the sorcery of fermentation, and expert advice from none other than Donna May. We'll also walk you through the final touches, shaping, scoring, baking, and more. So dust off your aprons, start preheating those ovens, and let's dive into the dough. Get ready to knead up some serious knowledge, all aboard the bread train. Our first stop, gluten central. Now, gluten gets a bad rap these days, but unless you're intolerant, it's actually a bread maker's best friend. This protein-rich pal brings structure to your bread, and it all starts with the flour you choose. Here's a tasty tidbit. Flour on its own doesn't contain gluten. Instead, it has two proteins, glutenin and gliadin, that combine with water to create gluten. This creates a network that traps the CO2 released by yeast, giving your bread its rise. And, heads up folks, high-protein bread flour is your golden ticket to that open crumb we all covet. Dough hydration also plays a crucial role, but starting with a 65% hydration is a great beginner's move. So always remember, as said by our eco-friendly Henry, wet hands for sticky dough. For an even more substantial bite into the gluten hub, view our recommended readings. Catch them in the show notes. Now let's get yeasty with fermentation, the scene where all the bread-making magic unfolds. It's a complex process that influences your bread's flavor, texture, and yes, you guessed it right, crumb. The length of your fermentation and the temperature wield a significant influence on your final crumb structure. No pressure, but striking the right balance can mean the difference between a perfect crumb and, well, let's not even go there. The secret is in the proof. Overproofing and underproofing can lead to a crumb catastrophe, so don't forget Terry's tip. Do the poke test for perfect proofing. Taking us further on this breadiology journey, our group expert Donna May has some exciting tips. Donna recommends using autolyse or fermentalize methods in the initial mix stage. Why, you ask? Because these clever techniques kickstart gluten development before kneading or folding steps, setting you up for a beautiful loaf with great structure. So remember, every step counts in the world of baking. Finally, let's get into the piece de resistance, shaping, scoring, and baking. Each step a vital part in achieving that open crumb. Keep the shaping gentle to retain those precious air bubbles, and remember that scoring controls the baking expansion, directly impacting your crumb structure. Remember, baking at the correct temperature is vital for a fantastic oven spring and open crumb. Now, even though the temptation might be unbearable, let your bread cool down before you tear into it. Good things come to those who wait. That's a lot of bread science we've covered, folks. From the nitty-gritties of gluten to the charms of fermentation and a spread of insightful baking steps. All for you to master that perfect open crumb. Just remember, bake with love and patience. That's the real secret recipe. And just like that, my timer's buzzing already. Folks, we've just been breaking bread with Rachel Parker. Check out the show notes for all the valuable links from today's episode, and always remember, keep baking, keep experimenting, and yes, keep breaking bread. And if you have any burning bread topics you'd like us to cover, send us a message. Until next time, keep those ovens hot and those hands in the dough. Stay curious, bakers. Ciao for now, and as always, keep baking with love.